Let's not waste any time with empty platitudes or fleeting inspiration that fades as quickly as it arrives. This is not another hype video designed to give you a temporary jolt of motivation before you return to the same quiet struggles. Instead, consider this a necessary and overdue reality check. This is for the men who have been moving in silence for far too long, the ones who consistently show up for everyone else in their lives, their families, their jobs, their friends, only to find that when the day is done, there is absolutely nothing left for themselves. It's a message intended to cut through the noise and speak directly to that feeling of being completely drained, of running on fumes while putting on a brave face for the world. This conversation is for the man who feels unseen, unheard, and underappreciated, yet continues to carry the weight of his responsibilities without complaint. You have been conditioned to believe that this is your duty, that your value is measured by your ability to provide, protect, and persevere without ever showing a crack in your armor. But this relentless performance comes at a tremendous cost, a cost that is rarely acknowledged or discussed. It chips away at your spirit, leaving you feeling hollow and disconnected from your own life. This isn't about blaming anyone. It's about acknowledging the fundamental truth that you cannot pour from an empty cup, no matter how strong you believe you are supposed to be. The purpose here is not to offer you a quick fix or a meaningless slogan to chant in the mirror. Those things are superficial and ultimately ineffective against the deep-seated exhaustion you feel. We are here to have an honest discussion about the reality of your situation, to validate the struggle that you have been shouldering in isolation. For too long, you have been told to man up, to suppress your feelings, and to just get on with it. This has created a generation of men who are experts at masking their internal battles, but novices at understanding and addressing their own needs. It is time to change that narrative. This is a direct address to the part of you that wonders if this is all there is, the endless cycle of work, duty, and quiet desperation. It's for the man who feels like he is failing, even when he's doing everything he has been told is right. If you're still showing up, if you're still getting out of bed each morning to face the day, you are not failing. You are enduring. But endurance alone is not a sustainable way to live. This is your invitation to pause, to listen, and to begin the process of reclaiming the energy and purpose that has been slowly draining away, one silent sacrifice at a time. You were thrown into life without a blueprint. That's not your fault, and it's a truth that needs to be stated plainly. Most of us were raised with a very specific yet incomplete set of instructions for manhood. The guidance was simple and straightforward on the surface. Do the right thing, get a good job, make money, provide for your family, and above all, stay out of trouble. This framework was presented as the definitive path to a successful and honorable life. We were taught to chase the approval of others, our parents, our teachers, our bosses, by ticking these boxes, believing that external validation was the ultimate measure of our worth as men. The problem with this inherited roadmap is not what it includes, but what it crucially leaves out. No one ever taught us how to navigate the complex and often painful internal landscapes of our own minds. There were no lessons on how to handle the heavy weight of regret for past mistakes, or how to confront the creeping sense of boredom that comes from a life lived purely on autopilot. We were never given the tools to process quiet failure, the kind that doesn't come with a dramatic explosion, but with a slow, creeping realization that you are not where you wanted to be. They gave us a set of rules for behavior, but offered no real direction for the soul. As a result, many men find themselves adrift in adulthood, following a script that feels increasingly hollow. If you have been waking up in the quiet hours of the morning with a persistent thought echoing in your mind, there has to be more to life than this. You are not going crazy. You are not ungrateful or broken. You are simply becoming aware of the cracks in the foundation of the life you were told to build. This feeling of disillusionment is not a sign of weakness. On the contrary, it is a sign that your inner self is finally demanding to be heard, signaling that the prescribed path is no longer enough to sustain you. This moment of awareness, this dawning realization that something is fundamentally missing, is the most critical turning point you can experience. It is the true beginning of meaningful, lasting change. The vast majority of men, when faced with this uncomfortable truth, will instinctively numb it. They will bury it under more work, more distractions, and more responsibilities, hoping the feeling will just go away. But you are noticing it. You are allowing that uncomfortable question to surface, and that single act separates you from the crowd. It demonstrates a courage you may not even recognize in yourself yet, and it is the first, most essential step toward building a life that feels authentic and fulfilling. Let's talk about the feeling itself, the exhaustion that goes beyond physical tiredness. It's that flat, unmotivated state where even things you once enjoyed feel like a chore. You might label it as laziness or a lack of discipline, chastising yourself for not having the drive you once did. But here is another hard truth. That feeling is not a character flaw. It is the natural, inevitable consequence of carrying everything in silence for years on end. It is the emotional and spiritual burnout that occurs when you consistently prioritize everyone else's needs above your own, believing that to be the hallmark of a strong man. This isn't laziness, it's a system overload. For years, you have been trying to stay strong, to be the unshakable pillar for those who depend on you. But true strength isn't about pretending that everything is perfectly fine when your world is crumbling internally. It is not measured by your capacity to absorb pain without flinching. Real sustainable strength is about having enough self-respect to admit when things are not okay. It is the courage to look in the mirror and acknowledge the toll that your silent burdens have taken on you. It's about being honest with the one person you can't lie to, yourself. That admission is not a sign of defeat, it is an act of profound self-preservation. This brings us to a crucial distinction that can change everything. You do not need to be fixed because you are not broken. The very idea that you are a project in need of repair is a damaging misconception that keeps men trapped in cycles of shame and self-criticism. You are not a machine with faulty parts that need replacing. You are a human being who has been operating under immense pressure for too long without adequate support or recovery time. What you truly need is not to be healed from some imaginary defect. What you need is space. Space to breathe, to think, and to simply exist without the weight of expectation. Alongside that space, you need structure. Not the rigid rules imposed by others, but a new framework that you build for yourself, one that serves your well-being. And most importantly, you need something to aim at again, a purpose that ignites a fire within you, not one that is dictated by societal norms. So take this as a powerful reminder. You are not a problem to be solved. You are a man who is finally getting honest about where he is and what he needs. And that raw, unfiltered honesty is the most solid and respectable ground from which to start building anew. It is a good place to be. Growing up, you were probably told to do the right thing, follow the rules, get good grades, find a steady job, keep your head down, and don't make waves. That's the script most men are handed. It's simple on the surface, but it comes with a catch. You're taught to chase approval, to measure your worth by what others think. Your parents, teachers, coaches, bosses. Every decision is weighed against an invisible scale of acceptance, and every step outside the lines feels like a threat to your value as a man. But nowhere in that script was there any real direction. They never handed you a map for what to do when you felt lost. No one told you how to handle disappointment that doesn't go away, or what to do with regret that lingers quietly in the background. You were told how to look successful, but not how to feel fulfilled. It's a silent setup. You cross off all the boxes, but still wake up wondering why it doesn't feel like enough. That's not your fault. It's not a personal failing. It's a common trap. One set by a culture that values appearance over substance and approval over honesty. You end up thinking something's wrong with you because you're not satisfied, when the truth is, satisfaction was never part of the plan they gave you. You were trained to survive, not to thrive. The instructions were about avoiding failure, not embracing life. So if you've been moving through life on autopilot, checking boxes but feeling empty, you're not broken. You're just starting to notice the cracks in the foundation. And noticing is the first step toward building something real. It means you're awake even if you're uncomfortable. That's more than most realize. You learned early how to follow rules, how to act, how to speak, how to keep your problems to yourself. But what about the rules for when life gets messy? Where was the lesson on how to deal with quiet failure? The kind that doesn't make headlines or spark interventions. There was no class on handling boredom, or on what to do when you're stuck in a job that pays the bills but, honestly, just drains your spirit. No one talked about regret, about the way it can build up in small, silent layers until it feels like a second skin you can't shed. Instead, you absorbed a different lesson. Keep moving, don't complain, don't let anyone see you sweat. Be reliable, be strong, be the guy others depend on, even if it means ignoring your own needs. The problem is, that kind of strength is a mask. It hides the truth, but it doesn't make it go away. Over time, the cost of that silence adds up. You get good at hiding, but you lose touch with what you really need. You become an expert at surviving, but a stranger to yourself. And the truth is, most men are just improvising. They're making it up as they go, pretending to have answers because admitting uncertainty feels like failure. But uncertainty is normal. It's real. And pretending it doesn't exist only makes it worse. The rules you were given were never designed to prepare you for real life. They were meant to keep you inside the lines. Life, though, happens outside them. If you feel lost or unprepared, you're not alone. Most men feel this way at some point, whether they admit it or not. The only difference is how honestly you face it. Owning the fact that you weren't given a real blueprint isn't weakness. It's the starting point for something better. You can't build a new foundation if you pretend the old one isn't cracked. There's a cost to living according to someone else's rules. It's not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's just a dull ache that never really goes away. You wake up, go through the motions, and push down the nagging sense that something is missing. You tell yourself it will pass, that tomorrow will be different. But tomorrow comes and it's the same. That's quiet regret. It's not explosive or obvious, but it eats at you all the same. Men are taught to ignore this feeling, to stuff it down and keep moving. You learn to distract yourself. Work more hours, stay busy, scroll through your phone, anything to avoid sitting with that emptiness. But distraction is a band-aid, not a cure. The regret doesn't disappear, it just waits, gathering strength in the quiet moments. You might feel it most when things are finally still. Late at night, early in the morning, when there's nothing left to distract you. This quiet regret isn't a sign that you've failed. It's a sign that you're human. You're carrying the weight of dreams that never got a chance, of choices you made for other people, of paths not taken because they didn't fit the script. That weight gets heavier the longer you ignore it. But here's the truth. Recognizing regret is not the same as being defined by it. It's feedback, not a final verdict. You can use it. You can listen to what it's telling you, instead of running from it. Most men never get that far. They numb it, deny it, or let it turn into bitterness. You have another option. You can let it wake you up. There comes a moment when you can't pretend anymore. The routine doesn't satisfy, and the distractions don't work. Maybe it hits you on a random Tuesday morning, or maybe it's after a big achievement that was supposed to make you happy. The feeling is always the same. There's got to be more than this. That emptiness isn't a malfunction. It's a message. It's your mind and body telling you that something needs to change. Most men never get to this point. They sense the emptiness and run from it, diving deeper into work, relationships, or whatever will keep them busy. But running only delays the inevitable. That hollow feeling is a signal, a sign that you're ready for something real, something deeper. It means you're outgrowing the old story you were given, and you're ready to write your own. It's uncomfortable to sit with emptiness. It can feel like failure, but it's not. In truth, it's the beginning of clarity. It's the point where you finally stop lying to yourself about what's working and what's not. That honesty is rare. It's powerful. It sets you apart from those who would rather stay numb. You can't fill that emptiness with more of the same. You have to acknowledge it, feel it, and let it push you towards something better. That's how real change starts. Not with a plan, but with a willingness to feel what's real, no matter how uncomfortable it is. Awareness is where everything changes. Most men numb discomfort, but you're different. You're noticing it. By allowing yourself to see the cracks, you're already moving forward. This isn't about blame, it's about accepting where you are, right now. If you're feeling unsettled, good. It means you care enough to notice. You're not broken, you're just finally ready to build something real. Let's get honest about the exhaustion that never goes away. This isn't laziness, it's the cost of carrying too much too quietly for too long. You've been the reliable one, absorbing stress and solving problems in silence. The world calls it strength, but the weight is real, and it adds up. On the outside, you look fine. Inside, you're running on empty. Admitting the struggle isn't weakness, it's the first step to setting the weight down. You're tired because you've carried an unsustainable burden, not because you failed. It's time to give yourself the compassion you give to others. Burnout isn't a personal failing, it's a system failure. You can't run on empty forever, no matter how strong you are. The fatigue and numbness aren't signs you're broken. They're signals you need care. True strength is recognizing your limits and honoring them. Ignoring burnout isn't strength, it's self-neglect. Shift from self-criticism to self-compassion. Ask, what does my system need? That's where real recovery begins. The idea that you're broken is a trap. You're not a project to be fixed. You're a human stretched by life's demands. Burnout and emptiness aren't defects. They're honest responses to pressure. You're not broken, just depleted. A depleted resource needs replenishing, not discarding. This shift gives you agency. You're not a victim, but an active participant in your recovery. You don't need repair, you need realignment. This is about learning to manage your energy in a self-honoring way. If you don't need fixing, what do you need? Space and structure. You need mental and emotional space, time away from constant demands. This isn't selfish, it's necessary for recovery. Alongside space, you need structure. Small, consistent actions that serve you. Predictable routines rebuild self-trust and stability. These anchors help you show up for yourself, one promise at a time, and you need a purpose that feels authentic, even if it's simple. That aim pulls you forward out of burnout. You're not a problem to be solved, but a man getting honest about where he is. This raw honesty is the foundation for real change. It takes more courage to admit your struggle than to hide it. Honesty is your compass, guiding you toward what you genuinely need. It's the starting line, not the finish. You stop being a passive passenger and become the architect of your life. Acknowledging your reality isn't defeat. It's the first, most courageous move, and that's a very good place to be. Progress isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself with fireworks or applause. Most days, honestly, it's not even noticeable. It looks a lot like discipline. Making your bed again, choosing water over beer, saying no to something that feels good but doesn't serve you. It's the quiet grind of small decisions made over and over without anyone watching or caring. That's the truth no one shows on Instagram. There are no highlight reels for getting up early or leaving your phone in another room so you can finally focus. Progress hides in the ordinary, and that's why it's easy to overlook. You might think you're stuck because nothing big has changed. The scale hasn't moved, your bank account isn't exploding, and you're still fighting the same old battles. But the fact is, you're showing up. You're putting one foot in front of the other even when it feels pointless. That's discipline. That's what real progress is made of. It's unglamorous and often invisible. But it's what separates the men who build something lasting from those who give up when the novelty wears off. It's easy to crave recognition. It's natural to want someone to notice your effort. But if you only do the work for applause, you'll quit as soon as things get hard. The middle, this long stretch where you're grinding away, is where most men drop out. It feels like nothing is happening, but that's the illusion. What you're really doing is building a foundation. You're stacking good days one after another until they become good months and good years. So the next time you feel invisible or wonder if any of this matters, remember, discipline in the dark is how progress is made. The middle is where it's won. Not on the podium, not in the spotlight, but in the silent, uncelebrated mornings and nights where you keep your promises to yourself. Every journey has a beginning and an end, but it's what happens in the middle that decides everything. The middle is the long, unglamorous stretch where you do the work when motivation has left the room, and all you have left is your word. This is the part no one posts about. You're eating better, sleeping earlier, maybe hitting the gym a little harder. But nothing looks different yet. The muscles aren't popping, the fat isn't melting, your energy isn't through the roof. It's just the same, day after day. This is where most give up. They think the lack of obvious results means nothing's working. But the truth is, every rep, every healthy meal, every early morning is a brick in the wall you're building. You're laying the groundwork for changes you can't see yet. It's slow, it's repetitive, it's boring, but it's necessary. The people who succeed are the ones who keep swinging the hammer long after it stops being fun. You might feel like you're walking in circles. The effort is real, but the payoff is invisible. That's normal. Progress is almost never linear. It comes in waves, frustrating plateaus, then sudden bursts. The middle is about surviving the plateaus without losing faith in your process. You're not failing because it's hard or slow. You're winning because you haven't quit. Remember, the long, quiet stretch is the proving ground. This is where you learn what you're made of. The easy days don't teach you anything. It's the hard, lonely ones that build your resilience and discipline. That's what's actually changing, even if it's not showing up in the mirror or the bank account yet. Everyone loves a before and after story, but the real story is what happens in between. The test isn't whether you can start strong or finish with a bang, it's whether you can show up in the middle, when the excitement is gone and the grind feels endless. The middle is a test of repetition. Can you do the right thing, not once, but 100 times? Can you keep a promise to yourself when no one will ever know if you break it? That's where the magic happens. Through repetition without reward. You wake up, lace your shoes, and go for that run even when it's raining and you'd rather hit snooze. You skip the extra drink again. You read a book instead of scrolling through your phone. No one is going to pat you on the back. Most days, no one will notice, but you will. You'll notice the quiet strength that starts to build. The repetition feels pointless when you're in it. But this is the test, not the results, the repetition. Anyone can try for a day or a week. What wins in the middle is consistency. It's the act of returning again and again to the things you said you'd do. That's how you stack up wins, even if they're small and unimpressive to everyone else. So if you're tired of waiting for big results, stop measuring your progress by the outcomes and start measuring it by your consistency. The habit of repetition is the seed of all lasting change. This is the middle. This is where the men who keep going eventually separate themselves from the ones who only talk about change. No one is going to give you a medal for waking up early or cooking your own meals instead of ordering takeout. There's no parade for paying your bills on time or skipping a night out to save money. The world doesn't cheer for the small, responsible choices you make behind closed doors. But these are the victories that matter most. This is the part no one sees, and it's where real men win. You might feel invisible sometimes, like your effort doesn't matter because nobody is clapping. But the truth is, you're building character in the dark. You're stacking up wins that pay off down the line, even if you can't see it yet. The discipline to keep going with no audience is what shapes your future. It's what builds trust in yourself. The kind of trust that doesn't waver when things get hard. When you show up for yourself, especially when it's inconvenient, you're setting a standard. You're telling yourself that you matter, even if the world doesn't notice. That's how you build a life you can be proud of. Not by chasing applause, but by stacking up days where you honor your commitments. In the gym, in your finances, in your relationships, or in your own mind. Remember, the middle is unseen for a reason. It's private, it's personal, it's yours. And one day you'll look back and realize that all those invisible wins built something solid, something that can't be taken away, even if no one else ever knows what you did to earn it. If it feels lonely, that's normal. The truth is, real growth almost always happens away from the crowd. The moments when you decide to keep going, even though no one else is watching or cheering you on, those are the moments that matter. The gym is empty at 5 a.m. The apartment is quiet when you're budgeting late at night. The world is asleep while you're still working on yourself. That's where change lives, in the lonely, unsexy places. Most men stop here. They let the loneliness convince them it's not worth it. But the solitude is not your enemy. It's your training ground. It's proof that you're willing to do the work for yourself, not for validation. You're investing in your own future, brick by brick, even if no one sees you laying the foundation. That kind of quiet persistence is rare. It's powerful. One day you'll look back at these lonely stretches and see them for what they were. The furnace where your discipline and self-respect were forged. You'll realize that these silent, tireless efforts weren't wasted. They were building the habits, the mindset, and the strength that set you apart. The applause might come later, or it might never come at all. Either way, it's irrelevant. So keep going. If it feels hard and lonely, that's a sign you're in the middle. And that's exactly where the battle is won. Every quiet victory matters. Every day you show up for yourself is stacking the odds in your favor, even if nobody else sees it. Stay the course. The middle is where it's won. Let's get one thing straight right from the start. You are not a damsel in distress waiting for a rescue party. You do not need saving. The idea that some external force, a person, a job, a lucky break, is going to swoop in and solve all your problems is a fantasy that keeps men passive and powerless. Waiting to be saved is an abdication of your own agency, a quiet surrender that robs you of your strength. You have been carrying your own weight for this long. You do not need someone else to lift it for you. What you need is something far more potent and self-generated. You need alignment. Alignment is the process of getting your actions in sync with your intentions. It's about closing the gap between the man you are and the man you want to be. For too long, you have likely been living in a state of misalignment, where your daily habits are not serving your deeper goals. You want to be healthy, but you eat poorly. You want to be financially stable, but you spend impulsively. You want to feel purposeful, but you waste hours on distraction. This internal conflict is a massive drain on your energy. Alignment is the conscious act of correcting this, of making small, daily choices that bring your life into harmony with your true values. This shift from waiting for a savior to seeking alignment is the most significant power move you can make. It transfers the locus of control from the unpredictable outside world to the one thing you can command: your own actions. You stop looking for a hero and start becoming one in your own story. This doesn't mean you have all the answers. It simply means you commit to moving in a direction that feels right, even if the steps are small. You start asking yourself, does this action align with the man I'm trying to build? This is why you don't need saving. A savior might fix a temporary problem, but they can't fix a misaligned life. Only you can do that. The work of alignment is internal, patient, and deeply personal. It requires you to be honest about what you want and to have the discipline to pursue it, one small, aligned action at a time. It's a quieter, harder path than waiting for a miracle. But its results are solid and they belong entirely to you. You are not waiting for help. You're making yourself ready for it. Good intentions are cheap. Everyone has them. The world is filled with men who intend to get in shape, intend to start a business, intend to be a better partner or father. They think about it, they talk about it, they might even plan for it. But intentions alone produce nothing. They are static, weightless thoughts that have no impact on reality. The universe, or whatever you want to call the forces of life, does not respond to your intentions. It responds to your actions. It rewards motion. Things don't start happening until you start moving. This is a fundamental law of life that is often forgotten. We get trapped in analysis paralysis, believing we need the perfect plan before we can take the first step. We wait for motivation to strike like lightning, forgetting that motivation is not a cause of action, but a result of it. You don't get motivated to go to the gym. You go to the gym, and then you feel motivated. You have to generate the spark yourself. You have to move first, even when you don't feel like it, even when you're not sure it's the right move. Any motion is better than staying still. Think of it like pushing a car that has run out of gas. That first push is the hardest. It takes an immense amount of effort to overcome the inertia. It feels like the car will never budge. But once you get it rolling, even just an inch, the next push is slightly easier. And the one after that is easier still. Soon, you build momentum, and what once seemed impossible becomes manageable. Your life is that car. It will not start moving on its own. You have to be the one to get behind it and push, even when it feels pointless. This is why the smallest step is infinitely more powerful than the grandest intention. Sending that one email, doing that one push-up, reading that one page, putting that $1 into savings. These are not just small actions. They are signals to yourself and to the world that you are no longer waiting. You are in motion. And once you are in motion, you become a target for opportunity. You start creating ripples, and you can never predict how far they will travel or what they will touch. But you can be certain that a body at rest creates no ripples at all. There's a strange and powerful phenomenon that occurs once you commit to action. Doors begin to open. This is not magic, and it is not a secret whispered by gurus. It is a practical, observable reality. When you are sitting still, consumed by your own problems and inaction, your head is down. Your world is small and your focus is narrow. You are blind to the possibilities that might be right in front of you. You are so focused on the wall you are facing that you don't see the doors on either side. But the moment you start working, the moment you start moving, your perspective changes. Your head comes up. Your eyes start scanning the horizon for the next step, the next opportunity. You start talking to people, asking questions, and learning new things simply as a byproduct of your efforts. The person you meet at the gym might mention a job opening. The book you read to improve one skill might give you an idea for a whole new business. The discipline you build in one area spills over into others, giving you the confidence to take on bigger challenges. These are not random coincidences. They are the direct result of you putting yourself in the path of opportunity. Help doesn't find the man who is sitting on his couch complaining about his circumstances. Help finds the man who is already in the trenches, covered in dirt, trying to dig himself out. People are drawn to energy and effort. When they see you working, when they see you trying to improve yourself, they are more willing to offer a hand, to share a piece of advice, or to connect you with someone who can help. Your action becomes a magnet. It signals to the world that you are serious, that you are a worthy investment of someone else's time and energy. So if you feel like you are surrounded by closed doors, it is not because the world is against you. It is likely because you have not started walking down the hallway. You have to start the work first. You have to move. Even if it's slow, even if it's clumsy. Take that first step, and then the next. Your hands must be working, and your feet must be moving. It is only then that your head will be up, allowing you to see the doors that were there all along, just waiting for you to walk toward them. Support is not a prerequisite for action, it is a consequence of it. Many men fall into the trap of waiting for support before they begin. They think, If only I had a mentor, or if only my partner understood, or if only my friends were on the same path, then I could start. This is a subtle form of giving away your power, making your progress dependent on the approval or participation of others. The reality is that genuine support rarely shows up for a man who is standing still. It materializes when you have already made the courageous decision that you are not waiting anymore. You have to decide that you are moving forward, with or without an entourage. You stop waiting for permission from the world to improve your own life. You stop waiting for a surge of motivation to get you started, and you certainly stop waiting for someone else to lead the way out of your own personal darkness. This decision, made in the quiet of your own mind, is the most critical turning point. It's the moment you reclaim your sovereignty. It's the moment you decide that your future is your responsibility, and you are going to act accordingly, starting now. Once you embody this decision through consistent action, a shift occurs. The people in your life and new people who enter it begin to see your commitment. They see that you are not just talking about change, you are living it. This is when real support shows up. A friend notices your discipline and asks to join you for a workout. Your partner sees your dedication and offers encouragement. A colleague observes your new focus and recommends you for a project. This support is earned, not given. It is a response to the energy you are already putting out into the world. Help finds the man who is already moving because that man has proven he is worth helping. He has demonstrated that he will make the most of the support he receives because he was willing to do the work even when he had none. So if you feel alone in your journey right now, do not be discouraged. See it as a necessary phase. This is your time to prove to yourself that you are committed. Keep moving. Keep doing the work in silence. Your motion will create a gravitational pull, and sooner or later, the right kind of support will find its way into your orbit. The ultimate act of taking responsibility for your life is to step into a leadership role. And honestly, the first person you must learn to lead is yourself. This means you set the agenda for your day. You define your own standards. You hold yourself accountable to the promises you make. You become the CEO of your own life, making executive decisions about your health, your finances, and your time. You stop looking for a boss, a coach, or a guru to tell you what to do. You step up and take the damn lead. This leadership begins quietly, without any fanfare. It happens when you choose to get out of bed instead of hitting snooze. It happens when you choose the workout over the couch. It happens when you choose to read a book over scrolling through social media. Each of these small choices is an act of self-leadership. You are guiding yourself toward a better future, moment by moment. It doesn't matter if anyone else sees it. It doesn't matter if no one claps or gives you a promotion for it. You are not doing it for them. You are doing it for you. It is crucial to understand that you can lead even if no one is following you yet. In fact, that is the purest form of leadership. It is leadership based on conviction, not on a desire for status or approval. You are walking the path because you believe it is the right path, not because you have an audience. This is the kind of quiet, resolute strength that inspires others in the long run. People are not inspired by what you say. They are inspired by what you do, especially when you do it consistently over time without needing recognition. So lead yourself first. Be relentless in your own standards. Be compassionate, but firm in your self-discipline. Even if it feels like you are an army of one, know that this is how all great movements begin, with one person deciding to move in a new direction. Your family, your friends, and your colleagues will eventually notice the change, not because you announce it, but because they will feel your new energy. They will see the results of your quiet leadership, and when they do, you won't have to convince them of anything. Your life will be the only argument you need. You lead. The rest will follow. This last part is where everything converges, where the discipline you forged in the middle and the momentum you've built through action solidify into something real. If you are truly committed to rebuilding your life, whether that's your physical health, your emotional stability, or your financial freedom, then you must embrace one final critical principle. Do not talk about it. Resist the modern urge to broadcast your intentions, to post about your new journey, or to seek validation for your efforts before you have anything tangible to show for them. The power of this process lies in its silence. Working quietly is not about being secretive or ashamed. It is a strategic decision to conserve your energy and focus it where it matters most, on the work itself. Every time you talk about what you are going to do, you release a small amount of the psychic tension that fuels action. You get a little hit of social approval, A premature sense of accomplishment that tricks your brain into feeling like you've already done something meaningful. This is a dangerous trap. It satisfies the ego's need for recognition, but starves the soul of real progress. The man who constantly announces his plans is often the man who never finishes them. He spends his energy on crafting the narrative instead of building the reality. Your transformation is not a marketing campaign. It is a deep, personal, and sacred construction project. Treat it with the respect it deserves by protecting it from the diluting influence of public opinion. Build it, quietly, daily, without any need for applause. This is the mantra. Let your actions be your only statement. When you feel the urge to tell someone about the diet you just started, channel that energy into preparing your next healthy meal instead. When you want to post about the book you're reading on financial discipline, use that time to review your budget and make a transfer to your savings account. This redirection of energy is potent. It keeps your focus internal and your momentum building, shielded from the skepticism, unsolicited advice, or faint praise of others. You are building a fortress, and the foundation must be laid in the undisturbed soil of your own private commitment. Working in silence also protects you from the pressure of external expectations. When you announce your goals, you invite an audience, and with an audience comes judgment. Their timeline becomes your timeline. Their definition of success can contaminate your own. If you stumble, you face public failure. If you succeed, you may be tempted to stop prematurely just to cash in on the admiration. By working in silence, you retain complete ownership of the process. Your only judge is you. Your only timeline is the one dictated by the work itself. This autonomy is crucial for building something that is not just impressive on the surface, but solid all the way to its core. In a world obsessed with self-promotion and personal branding, the idea of not publicizing your every move feels almost revolutionary, but there is a profound and unshakable strength in letting your results do all the talking. There is absolutely no need to explain what you are doing, because explanations are for people who haven't done the work yet. They are a substitute for evidence. The man who is truly confident in his process does not need to justify it to anyone. He simply does the work, day in and day out, with the quiet assurance that the results will eventually become their own irrefutable statement. Let your actions be so loud that your words become unnecessary. Think about the difference in impact. A man who tells everyone he is going to get in shape creates a cloud of words, of promises and intentions. But a man who simply disappears for 6 months and then shows up 30 pounds lighter with a new energy and posture, that man creates an undeniable reality. He doesn't need to say a word. The result is the announcement. It's not a boast, it's a fact. It doesn't invite debate or skepticism, it commands respect. This is the power you are aiming for, the power of a demonstrated outcome. It's the difference between talking about the mountain you're going to climb and standing silently at its peak. This approach requires immense patience and a deep trust in the process. There will be moments when you are making significant progress behind the scenes, yet you have nothing to show for it on the outside. This is a critical test of your resolve. Can you continue to grind in the dark, fueled only by your own self-belief without the external validation of likes, comments, or compliments? The men who can are the ones who build things that last. They are not chasing the fleeting high of attention. They are building the enduring foundation of self-respect. They know that a house built of solid brick is infinitely stronger than one built of beautifully painted cardboard. So, commit to the silence. Commit to the unglamorous, repetitive, daily work. Let your bank account grow before your lifestyle does. Let your discipline become second nature before you ever speak of it. Let the changes become so deeply integrated into who you are that they are no longer a project but simply your new standard of living. When the results finally emerge, they will not feel like an announcement at all. They will feel like the natural, inevitable consequence of the man you have quietly, deliberately, and powerfully become. Your life itself will be the message, and it will be heard far more clearly than any words you could ever speak. The first proof of your internal work will not be visible to the naked eye. It will not be something you can capture in a photo or summarize in a social media bio. The very first thing that will change is your energy. It's the way you carry yourself. It's the look in your eye. It's the firmness in your handshake and the calm in your voice. Before your body changes, before your income changes, before your circumstances change, your presence will shift. People who know you won't be able to put their finger on it, but they will feel it. They will sense a new weight, a new solidity, a new quiet confidence emanating from you. This is the first ripple of your silent work reaching the outer world. This change in energy is the most authentic indicator of real transformation because it cannot be faked. You can buy new clothes, get a new haircut, or post a motivational quote, but you cannot fake the energy of a man who is living in alignment with his principles. This is the aura of self-respect, earned through thousands of small, private decisions where you chose the hard right over the easy wrong. It's the energy of a man who trusts himself because he has seen himself keep his promises in the dark. This is a deeply attractive and powerful force. It draws people and opportunities to you without you having to say a single word. Let your body change before your Instagram does. Focus on the feeling of getting stronger, not just the picture of looking stronger. Feel the vitality of eating clean food rather than just posting the meal. The physical changes are a byproduct of the discipline, not the goal itself. The goal is the inner fortitude you are building. When the physical transformation inevitably comes, it will be an honest reflection of the internal work, not just a superficial shell. This makes the change resilient. It's not something you did for a 30-day challenge, it's who you have become. The mirror will eventually catch up to the man you are building. Let your income change before your followers do. Resist the urge to broadcast every small win or side hustle. Focus on providing value, mastering your craft, and managing your money with quiet intelligence. The numbers in your bank account are a private scorecard between you and your discipline. Let them grow in silence. When your financial reality is undeniably solid, your life will reflect it in a natural, unforced way. You won't need to flash expensive things to prove your success. Your freedom and lack of financial stress will be the real status symbols. The energy of a man who is financially secure is one of calm and capability, and that is a currency that no amount of online flexing can buy. There's a fundamental difference between success that is loudly proclaimed and success that is quietly earned. The first is brittle. It depends on external validation and the continued applause of the crowd. It is a performance, and like any performance, it is vulnerable to the shifting opinions of the audience. If the applause stops, the success feels hollow. This kind of success is often built on a foundation of sand, prioritizing appearance over substance. It looks good from a distance, but it cannot withstand the storms of real life, the setbacks, the criticisms, the moments when no one is watching. It is a fragile victory, easily broken. Success that is quietly earned, on the other hand, is forged in steel. Its foundation is built deep within you, constructed from the bricks of discipline, integrity, and self-trust. It does not require an audience, because you were your own witness through the entire process. You saw yourself show up on the days you wanted to quit. You felt the burn of the last rep. You made the sacrifice when no one was there to praise you for it. This process creates an internal validation that is far more powerful and enduring than any external praise. Your sense of accomplishment is not dependent on anyone else's opinion because you lived the struggle. You know what it cost, and you know it is real. This is the kind of strength that doesn't need to be explained or defended. When you have truly earned your results through silent, consistent effort, you develop a quiet confidence that is unshakable. You are not arrogant, but you are certain. You don't need to boast because the results are self-evident. When someone questions your methods or doubts your journey, it doesn't rattle you. Their words are just noise, because you have the quiet, unshakable memory of the work you put in. You were there. You did it. That knowledge is a fortress that no external opinion can penetrate. This is the ultimate goal: to build a life so solid, a character so strong, and a sense of self so secure that you no longer need anything from the outside world to feel whole. Your success, whether it's in your health, your work, or your character, becomes a part of you, as natural as breathing. It is not something you put on like a costume to impress others. It is the very fabric of who you have become. This is the kind of strength that creates a legacy. It is quiet, it is powerful, and it is earned. And what is earned in the silence of your own effort can never be taken away by the noise of the world. Inevitably, the day will come. After months or maybe even years of your quiet, relentless work, the results will become just too obvious to ignore. It might be an old friend you haven't seen in a while, a family member, or a colleague. They'll look at you, really look at you, and with genuine surprise in their voice, they'll ask, "Wow, when did all this happen?" They're talking about the way you look, the way you carry yourself, the success you're having in your career, or just that undeniable aura of calm confidence that seems to surround you. They'll be trying to pinpoint the single event, that one moment where everything changed for you. And in that moment, you won't launch into a long explanation. You won't list the books you read, the podcasts you listened to, or the diet you followed. You won't recount the 5 a.m. alarms, the lonely workouts, or the nights you spent working while they were out having fun. You won't need to. Instead, you'll just smile. A quiet, knowing smile. It's not a smile of arrogance or superiority. It's the smile of a man who knows a secret. The secret is that it didn't happen in a single moment. It happened in 1,000 small, invisible, uncelebrated moments that nobody else saw. That smile will say everything that words cannot. It'll say that this was not an accident. It was not luck. It was not a gift. It was a choice, remade every single day. It will communicate the quiet satisfaction of knowing you built this, brick by painful brick. The question, when did this happen, is really the world's acknowledgement that your private, internal work has finally manifested into a public, undeniable reality. They're seeing the finished building, but you're the only one who knows the sweat and sacrifice that went into every single stone of the foundation. And that knowledge is a private victory that's sweeter than any public award. Because you earned it quietly, the victory is yours and yours alone. It's not a fleeting moment of glory, it's a permanent change in who you are. The strength you've built isn't for show, it's for life. It's the kind of strength that doesn't need to be explained because it's lived. It's felt by everyone you interact with. So when they ask, just smile. Let them wonder. Let them see the result and be inspired by the mystery of it. Your life has become the answer. You did the work, you stayed quiet, and now the results are speaking for themselves, louder and more eloquently than you ever could. So we arrive at the end, but honestly, this is not a finish line, it's a starting block. The entire purpose of this reality check has been to strip away the noise, the useless hype, and the damaging myths that have kept you feeling stuck, broken, or behind. It's really been an invitation to look at your life not through the lens of what you think it should be, but for what it actually is. The central message, if you take nothing else away, is this: you are already doing far better than you give yourself credit for. The simple, unglamorous act of showing up day after day in a world that constantly tests your resolve is a form of victory that often goes unacknowledged. You've been fighting battles in silence, carrying weights no one else can see, and for that alone, you're not failing. You are enduring. We've redefined what it means to be the man in the arena. It's not about grand public victories or the thunderous applause from the crowd. It's about the man who gets up in the quiet dark of the morning when his bed is warm and his body is tired. It's the man who chooses the difficult but necessary action over the easy, comfortable distraction. The real arena is not a stage, it's your own mind. It's the internal space where you battle with your own apathy, your own doubts, and your own desire for immediate gratification. Every time you win that private war, every time you keep a small promise to yourself, you're winning the only fight that truly matters. This journey is not about becoming a new person. It's about stripping away the layers of expectation and self-deception to reveal the strong, capable man who's been there all along. You do not need to be fixed because you were never broken. You were simply overloaded, under-resourced, and operating from a faulty blueprint you inherited. The awareness of this fact is your first real tool. The decision to build your own structure, to create your own space, and to aim at your own targets is your power. You're not a project to be completed, you're a man to be reclaimed. This is the new definition of progress. Therefore, walk away from this with a new perspective. See your daily struggles not as evidence of your failure, but as opportunities to practice your discipline. See your loneliness not as a sign of isolation, but as the sacred space where real growth occurs. Understand that the long, boring middle is where character is forged. You are not waiting for a magical solution or for someone to come and save you. You are the man who is already moving, the one who leads himself, the one who is building his future in the honorable silence of his own relentless effort. And that, in itself, is a profound success. The ultimate goal of this quiet, internal work is to build a type of strength that is self-evident. It's a strength that does not need to be announced, defended, or explained. It is felt. It's the quiet confidence that radiates from a man who has faced his own demons and refused to back down. It's the calm that comes from knowing you've built your life on a foundation of integrity and self-respect, not on the shifting sands of public opinion. This is the strength you earn when you prioritize results over attention and substance over style. It's the difference between a loud, hollow drum and a solid block of granite. One makes a lot of noise, but the other is unmovable. This strength is the final, undeniable product of building quietly. When you resist the urge to broadcast your journey, you cultivate a private world of self-reliance. You learn to be your own source of motivation, your own judge, and your own biggest supporter. This internalizes your locus of control, making you less susceptible to the praise and criticism of others. Your self-worth becomes anchored in the knowledge of the work you've done, not in the number of likes you receive. This is a superpower in the modern world. It's an immunity to the noise, a quiet rebellion against the culture of constant performance. When people eventually notice the change in you, and they will, their questions will be a testament to the power of your silent work. The "when did this happen?" is the world's admission that they're seeing the finished product without having any idea of the process. Your quiet, knowing smile in that moment is the only explanation necessary. It communicates a history of discipline that words could never capture. It speaks of early mornings, of difficult choices, of consistent effort in the face of doubt. It says, "This was not an accident, this was earned." That is a statement more powerful than any speech. Embrace this path. Let your energy change before your bio does. Let your body change before your photos do. Let your bank account change before your lifestyle does. Let the transformation be so deep and so real that by the time the world catches on, it is simply an established fact of who you are. This is the kind of strength that endures. It's not built for a season, it's built for a lifetime. It needs no external validation because it was forged in the internal fires of your own private commitment. It is the strength that needs no explanation. In the end, we must arrive at the most crucial understanding of all. The final destination, the perfect body, the ideal income, the finished project, is not the real prize. The true reward is the work itself. It's the process of becoming the man who is capable of achieving those things. The reward is the discipline you build, the resilience you forge, and the self-trust you cultivate along the way. The outcome is just a bonus. The real victory lies in the person you become during the pursuit. This is why you're already doing better than you think, because if you're engaged in the work, you are already winning the most important prize. Every single day that you choose to show up, you're casting a vote for a better version of yourself. Each workout, each healthy meal, each hour of focused work, each difficult conversation is not just a means to an end, it is an end in itself. These actions are the living, breathing practice of self-respect. You are not just building a better future, you are living a better present. The satisfaction comes not from crossing the finish line, but from the knowledge that you are running your race with integrity every single day. The work is not the obstacle, the work is the path. This changes your entire relationship with the struggle. It's no longer a painful price you have to pay to get what you want. Instead, the struggle becomes the very thing that refines you, that makes you stronger, and that gives your life meaning. You begin to welcome the resistance, because you know that is where growth happens. You stop chasing the easy way out, because you understand that character is not built on easy street. The process itself becomes the source of your fulfillment. You are not just working towards a goal, you are living a life of purpose, one disciplined action at a time. So do the work, not for the applause, not for the results, and not for the approval of others. Do it for the man it makes you. Do it because the act of striving is what gives life its flavor. Do it because discipline is the highest form of self-love. Do it because every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build a foundation that nothing and no one can ever take away from you. You are doing better than you think because you are doing the work. And in the end, the work is all that matters. The work is the reward.